So I think we're living in a time where people are more aware kind of what they're eating and how much they're working out. I think that's a great thing, but I also think we're living in a time where stress and anxiety is sort of on the rise. And I think a lot of times we just sort of say, you know, it's out of our control, and I mean, sometimes it is, but I would argue that a lot of times it actually is in our control. I want to share a little story with you for some context. When I started my filmmaking business, I was living at home in my parents' basement. My goal was to produce great videos, but I had literally no clue about the business side of things. I had no desire to really create a website. I didn't have any business cards made, no logo. Those things just didn't really matter to me, and I kind of felt like a fraud. My business brought me so much anxiety and fear that I would get exposed, and that, you know, eventually someone would kind of figure out, like, who is this guy? Like, you know, what is he doing? Like, does he even take this seriously? I remember meeting a potential client, and after the meeting I was driving home and just felt great about how it went. And although they enjoyed my videos, I think they just felt, and they worded it politely, but they just kind of felt that I lacked professionalism and that they wanted to hire someone who gave them more confidence. And I totally get that. But at the time, I remember feeling just so defeated. But I also didn't want to cave and just become another nagger or wedding video company. I wanted to push myself and my mind to max capacity. I started researching and watching some of the top wedding filmmakers in North America and just seeing what they were doing differently. Instead of constantly doubting myself, I remember walking down to the river one night and just kind of reflecting on everything and making a plan for the following wedding season. Instead of letting more doubt and anxiety and fear sink in, I said to myself, wait a minute, this is my business, I can run it however I want. Instead of focusing on where I lacked from sort of the business side of things, I thought, okay, I gotta be good at something, like people are contacting me. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm actually a really fast editor, and I don't really know anyone who can edit as fast as me and as efficiently as me, so that is a skill I kind of want to work on and even take it to another level. So in 2015, I shot 20 weddings, and it was the most stressed I'd ever been. But in 2016, I gave myself a limit on how much time I would spend per video. My goal was to produce the best possible product in under 2 weeks. I was also doing wedding teasers and trailers, just pumping out content. It was stressful, but I was seeing results, and I was building more confidence. I ended up seeing just a wave of inquiries in 2017, and I nearly tripled my business shooting 57 weddings. Crazy part is, I'm just still that same dude who doesn't have a website, no logo, doesn't really know what I'm doing, but my mentality switched. I aggressively played to my strengths and didn't even have time to think about my weaknesses. I realized that people will always remember how you made them feel more than the actual product itself. Of course I gotta represent Noddle. What I've been learning is that I really need to embrace failure and be comfortable with discomfort. It was at one of my breaking points of high anxiety, stress, and doubting myself where my business actually ramped up. It was reminding myself that the daily habits I took seriously were just contributing to my overall efficiency. I always enjoy learning something new. And it wasn't even that long ago where I started playing ping pong and just sort of fell in love with the psychology of the sport. And similar to ping pong, juggling is just like really hand-eye coordination, and you got to be super focused. And as you can see, I pretty much mastered 3-ball juggling, and I'm just not satisfied enough. I want to take it to 5-ball juggling. And I know that's just like super random, like who wants to learn how to juggle? But for me, it's just that feeling of just being totally locked in. It's not like physically draining. It's just like it's all brain power. It's all mental toughness. Just the psychology of the sport is kind of what motivates me. I've watched a few tutorials on how to juggle 5 balls, and a lot of them say try doing a 5-ball flash, meaning make sure every ball leaves my hand before it hits the ground. And even that's difficult, so this is going to be definitely a challenge, but I'm excited. So that last ball, I'm throwing it way too far. I think instead of being scared to fail, you should embrace the opportunity to try something new. Success is just going from one failed attempt to another without losing enthusiasm. These are the times you will grow, and these are when new habits can be created. In the same way many of us work out at the gym every day, we also need to be working on our minds and our mental toughness every day. Electric skateboard, yeah. So there's sensors on the board and...
Well, they should use a caveman in their ad.
Oftentimes people make New Year's resolutions about their diet or working out. But we set unrealistic expectations on ourselves. Let's say you want to commit to working out an hour a day. But an hour is a lot of time to someone who hasn't introduced that routine to their life. And they're likely to make excuses when they fail. I think this is where stress and anxiety can sink in because you aren't hitting your target. This is why I love micro habits. Instead of committing to an hour a day, commit to 5 or 10 minutes. Set the bar so low that you can't fail. Even someone who is depressed or stuck in a mental rut can achieve success. It's honestly probably been like 15 years since I've landed a kickflip. Micro habits are an amazing way for people who have a hard time getting started to actually get started. Here's a few micro habits and tips that I've integrated into my life in order to exercise my mind. So I never hit the snooze button. If my alarm goes off, I get out of bed right away. I try to end my shower with cold water for 30 seconds. Making the bed first thing in the morning. My wife hates this one, but I like parking far away at the grocery store just to get a little walk in. I try to turn my phone off for an hour a day. You don't have to follow that list, but just be consistent in whatever you put on your checklist. And if you look at any of these things individually, it's like, wow, big deal, you made the bed today. But on a deeper level, you won't think about it anymore. And what once was a checklist is just your life. Guess I gotta kill 40 minutes. I want this decade to be about creating content I wish I saw 10 years ago. I'm not where I want to be yet, but this process of shooting, editing, and uploading is like therapy to me. I really just want to inspire sort of the next generation of filmmakers and creatives and just let you know that like you can do it kind of however way you want. It's an amazing time to be alive. You know what that sound means? It's 11 o'clock.